Dennis Rader, the BTK killer, once chillingly stated, "I actually think I may be possessed with demons. I was dropped on my head as a kid. Born in the heartland of America, Wichita, Kansas in 1945, Rader's childhood was seemingly ordinary. He was the eldest of 4 boys, raised in a loving, church-going family, yet beneath the surface of this normality, something sinister lurked. From a young age, Rader showed signs of violent tendencies, torturing and killing animals, a behavior often linked to future violent criminals. He was also fascinated by the idea of control, often playing disturbing games where he would pretend to be a secret agent or a spy. As he grew older, these dark tendencies didn't fade. Instead, they intensified, and Rader began to fantasize about bondage, control, and murder. But no one could have foreseen the reign of terror that Rader was about to unleash. In the quiet town of Wichita, Kansas, a series of brutal murders began in 1974, marking the start of the BTK killer's reign of terror. In the heart of the American Midwest, a sinister shadow fell over Wichita. The town's sense of safety and tranquility was shattered when a family of 4, the Oteros, were found brutally murdered in their home. This marked the first known murders committed by the man who would later be known as the BTK killer. The Oteros were discovered bound and strangled, a method of killing that would become a horrifying signature of the BTK killer. Joseph and Julie, the parents, and 2 of their children, Joseph Jr. and Josephine, were the unfortunate first victims of this predator. As investigations into the Otero family murders progressed, a chilling detail emerged. The killer had spent hours in the home with the victims before finally ending their lives. This level of cold-blooded patience and control was a terrifying hint of what was to come. The BTK killer didn't stop at the Otero family. As the months and years rolled on, more victims were discovered, all bound and strangled in the same distinctive manner. The town of Wichita was gripped by fear, and the police were at a loss. The killer remained a faceless phantom, always one step ahead of the law. In 1978, 4 years after the Otero family murders, a letter arrived at a local Wichita newspaper. The author of the letter claimed responsibility for the killings, detailing the crimes with a sickening level of accuracy. It was in this letter that the killer gave himself the moniker that would send chills down the spine of anyone who heard it: BTK, standing for his method of murder: bind, torture, kill. The letters didn't stop at one. The BTK killer continued to taunt the police and media with his correspondence, each letter more chilling than the last. His arrogance grew with each uncaught crime, and it was clear that he enjoyed the game of cat and mouse he was playing with the authorities. As the years passed, the body count grew, and so did the BTK killer's arrogance. After a decade of silence, the BTK killer resurfaced in 2004, sparking renewed fear in the hearts of the Wichita community. A specter from the past had come alive once again, and the city was gripped in a vice of terror. But this time, the story was going to take a different turn. This was no ordinary predator. The BTK killer was a chameleon, blending into the mundane fabric of suburban life. For 10 long years, he had remained a phantom, his barbaric acts a distant nightmare. But in the year 2004, the silence was shattered. The BTK killer was back, and he was bolder than ever. But what led to this resurgence? Was it the thrill of the hunt, the sweet taste of fear? Or was it something far more human, an insatiable need for recognition? The BTK killer, despite his monstrous deeds, was a man who craved acknowledgement, validation. He wanted the world to know of his atrocities, to marvel at his cunning, to tremble at his name. And this need for recognition would ultimately lead to his downfall. In a stunning move, the BTK killer sent a floppy disk to the police. A game of cat and mouse, a challenge, a taunt. But this time, the predator had become the prey. The police, with their relentless pursuit and technological prowess, were able to trace the disk back to its source. It was a breakthrough, a ray of hope in a decade-long nightmare. The net was closing in, and the BTK killer's reign was about to come to a chilling end. The man behind the mask, the Phantom of Wichita, was finally revealed. In 2005, Dennis Rader was unmasked as the BTK killer. A pillar of the community, a church leader, a family man, the facade was shattered, and the monster was revealed. The end of an era had come. The Phantom was no more. The reign of terror was over. In 2005, Dennis Rader was finally unmasked as the BTK killer and sentenced to 10 consecutive life sentences. The nightmare was finally over, but the scars would remain, a chilling reminder of the man who once was the BTK killer. The capture of the BTK killer brought relief to the Wichita community, but the scars left by his brutal crimes still remain. The reign of the BTK killer, whose real name is Dennis Rader, spanned more than 3 decades. He was not just a specter that haunted this Kansas community, but a living, breathing embodiment of evil who left an indelible mark on its very soul. His capture in 2005 brought an end to the terror, but the aftermath was far from over. For the families of his victims, Rader's arrest was a long-awaited closure, a chance to finally exhale. But it was also a stark reminder of the loved ones they had lost. The empty chairs at dinner tables, the birthdays and anniversaries marked by absence, the lingering echoes of laughter and love, all served as constant reminders of the lives cruelly snuffed out by Rader's monstrous acts. For the Wichita community, the BTK killer's capture was a watershed moment. It marked the end of an era of fear and uncertainty, but it also marked the beginning of a period of introspection. How had Rader, a seemingly ordinary man, a husband, a father, a church president, and a compliance officer, managed to lead a double life as one of America's most notorious serial killers? The BTK killer's reign of terror also had a profound impact on pop culture. His chilling moniker, which stands for bind, torture, kill, his penchant for taunting law enforcement with cryptic messages, and his ability to evade capture for so long have all become infamous elements in the annals of true crime history. His life and crimes have been dissected in countless books, documentaries, and movies, serving as a grim reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the most ordinary of men. Dennis Rader, the BTK killer, will forever be remembered as one of America's most notorious and chilling serial killers. His crimes have left a legacy of pain and fear, but they have also underscored the resilience of a community that refused to be broken by the monstrous acts of one man.